This is the quarantine edition right now.
House arrest edition.
Yeah, right in the middle of the protests after the murder of George Floyd, and with protests happening all across the country and the world at that, I just felt it was important to have you speak on what's going on right now, especially because I think you have an interesting perspective that a lot of young people don't have. Because last August, we did an interview and you talked about how after the LA riots in the 90s, you felt that a black revolution was possible. Now, here we are, uh, 2020, roughly a little bit less than 30 years later, we have the same type of thing, although exaggerated, happening in different cities,
Right.
happening all over the country.
This is not the same type of thing, but go ahead, keep going.
Well, tell me why you don't think it's the same type of thing.
Well, first of all, I feel like in the 90s, what was going on was organic. And it actually came from the people. It was the frustration of the actual people that were living the bullshit from day to day. Rodney King was a final straw for black people. And we organically, not in a way that was directed, we organically protested, rioted, whatever you want to call it, had an uprising, which again was organic from the people that were affected by it, which is why it was a predominantly black movement. Fast forward to today's new movement that we have. First of all, you can go back to multiple Vlad TV interviews where I tell you that America is trying to start a race war. America, for the longest time, has specifically been trying to get black people to react in a violent way as a protest against all the murders and stuff that they've been doing. But we didn't do it. We didn't do it. Partially because the type of youth that exists today are not as politically astute as the youth that existed when I was coming up. You know, the whole culture of when I was coming up, you had the Boogie Down Productions and the Public Enemies and the Brand Nubians and the X-Clans that put your mind frame, and that was all organic. That was not something that was contrived and given to the people. These were people that organically felt a love for their people and wanted to get on wax and convey that. So that energy and that consciousness was within the people from the culture. Right now, we live in a culture of trap music and stripper music, and there's hardly a revolutionary song to be sung in this age that we live in. So a lot of the mind frame, and let's keep it real, they've softened up a lot of our brothers with these tight ass pants and these fucking, all the soft ass shit I've been telling you about all along. Now here it is. When you need people to really stand up and fight, they're not going to be there. So on one hand, they did that to weaken us. But at the same time, because I talked about social engineering before, so at the same time, they thought that they can do certain things that would influence us to react in a certain way. Up until this point, we haven't reacted in the way that they wanted us to react. So now, boom, here comes all this, this pandemic or whatever you want to call it. And now on the heels of this, and now people have been cooped up for a long time too. So they're itching to get outside. Okay. We know this. They're itching to get outside. So now let's reinstate more of this racist shit that we was doing. You know what I mean? When Trump first got elected and all this type of stuff. Let's reignite that. And because make no mistake about it, we're under medical martial law right now. Okay? We're under medical martial law. They're looking for a real martial law to happen. They need an excuse to send in National Guard and all this type of stuff. I'm sure y'all have heard of the FEMA camps that have been built. I'm sure you've heard of the FEMA coffins that are just sitting there. What do you think they want to fill them with? Who do you think they want to fill them with? You. Okay? So let's not fall for the banana in the tailpipe right now. This is not an organic revolution going on. This is something that's being influenced, agitated. There are people that are paid agitators that are out there right now who are doing certain things that ultimately we as black people are going to get the blame for. You see what I'm saying? And you got black people out here actually trying to stop them from doing this type of shit. But all this looting and all of that type of bullshit, half of them are not even out there for no George Floyd. They're out there to try to get a new phone or a new laptop or some Rolexes and or whatever the fuck they can get right now. And we can't blame this on black people this time. Most of the violence that's being perpetrated and vandalism is coming from white people right now. And a lot of these white people that are doing this are paid agitators. Some of them have even been proven to be police officers. They have videos of police damaging their own vehicles. Why? So that they can say we did it, so that now we can go back and say, oh, we got to quell all of this. Trump got to send in the National Guard and we have to instate martial law. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. This is not an organic uprising. This is not a revolution. Okay? This is some shit that they want you to do. That's why the bricks and all of that are piled up suspiciously by the courthouse and little stuff like that. Like, that's what's going on right now. Let's not fall for the bullshit. If you really want to revolt, unplug yourself from the system and stop buying every fucking thing, supporting all this bullshit that they're trying to sell you right now. That's a real revolution. Okay? But all this shit that you think you're doing right now, running around, screaming and all this type of shit, when the fuck has that ever did anything in the past? When is all that marching and burning shit down? When has that ever actually changed anything in the past? I'll wait.
Yeah. And I just want to say one thing, and I fully support the protests. I fully support the cop getting the death penalty for what happened to George Floyd. But in the anger of this moment, a lot of stores that are being looted and destroyed are small independent stores. Mm-hmm. Some of them black owned, some of them minority owned, female owned.
And they knew that would happen because all the big stores got the insurance. They're going to be okay.
Right. And the argument is, well, that store has insurance. It doesn't matter. But I could tell you an actual story from a store that I frequent myself. It's a sneaker store in LA called Riff. Riff LA. It's an independent consignment shop, kind of like a flight club. And they just got hit. And they explained on Twitter how they've gotten similar situations, vandalism before. And ultimately, the insurance company pays them about 20% of what actually gets lost. So they're like, you have $1 million loss, you get 200,000 back from the insurance after about 6 months.
Is that sneaker store on Melrose?
No, it's actually in downtown LA.
Okay.
Because it's in downtown LA.
Because a friend of mine, shout out to my man Five Mikes, he told me a story about he was going to get some Jordans or something the other day. There was a big line. He's out there 8 in the morning or some shit, Melrose and Fairfax. So it's kind of some sneaker store that, the type of shit what you talking about, that be having exclusive shit or whatever. They be having lotteries and all that type of shit. He said he was out there like 8 in the morning. He said he's seen a white lady with a Black Lives Matters t-shirt on, but as he looked at her, he see that she had like a lav mic or some shit on. You know what I mean? Like some sort of walkie-talkie deal going on. Like, and he was like, yo, like that. He said it struck him something funny. She said, and then later on in the day, there was some riot shit, like right over there, like some crazy shit. You dig what I'm saying? Like, I support the idea of supporting this, but I don't support this contrived, what might be some George Soros paid for whatever the fuck is going on right now. I'm telling you, this is not of the people. This is not organic of the people. This is something that they need to pass laws and for sound bites and for media and shit like that to make it seem like shit is so crazy that, yo, we have to quell all this shit. We're going to have to. I'm telling you, Vlad, like, this is what they've been going for a long time. Like, I'm gonna even take it as far as, and I hinted at this before, it's to the point where I'm not, again, I don't even know if that shit even happened with George Floyd. Yes, I said it, okay? Because the same way, remember they took that footage of me with the red shit and turned it blue, and man, bro, all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. That's not just some Shakespeare fly shit that he said. That's some real shit, bro. Do not trust everything that you think you saw, especially when certain people give it to you. Maybe it did happen. Maybe it didn't. I don't know.
Well, I'm not going to co-sign that George Floyd is living in Argentina someplace.
No, I'm not.
You know, with a big payoff.
Listen, that's not what I'm saying. Sometimes things that are planned can still have a real outcome, Vlad. So that's what you have to stand. Like, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that he might be paid off on an island somewhere, although he could be. I'm saying they could have really killed him, but at the same time, this could have been something that was staged. That's all that I'm saying. Like, first of all, they say that these two dudes worked together at a club for like mad years as bouncers. If a motherfucker was on your neck about to kill you and you know this motherfucker, wouldn't you be like, yo, Derek, get the fuck off me? Like, I'd be saying his fucking name. Yo, fuck off me, Derek. Like, huh? All you gonna say is I can't breathe I don't know, man. I'm telling you, don't take nothing on face value. That's all I can say, people. Because the people that's giving it to you, again, can't be trusted. Do not trust the untrustworthy.
Well, time will tell. Usually things that are in the dark come out to light eventually.
Oh, yeah.
And we will see how this thing plays out. At this point, Vlad TV is still committed to covering all this, to getting important voices like yours, like the tradies, like the Immortal Techniques, like the Killer Mikes and so forth, who we featured a lot in the past, to continue speaking about this. And hopefully there will be some long-term positive changes in the future from this.
Well, again, you say long-term changes, positive changes. I don't know when has marching and rioting and when has that ever really brought about change? Really? Like the change that they're trying to bring about with all of that is a negative change. So y'all got to be careful. The change, the long-lasting change that they want is martial law, is totalitarian government. And let me just say that the word government, govern means control, and ment is the mind, is the mentality. Control the mind, govern the ment, control the mentality. That's what your government is here to do. That's what they're doing with the media. That's what they're doing with a lot of images that they give you. And I'm just saying, don't take nothing on face value, including the fact that these riots or whatever, whatever's going on out there right now, do not take on face value that this is the actual people doing this. Okay? Because you always got to trace who got the most to gain when certain things happen. And when you look at all of this, the climate that we're in right now with all the, being scared of people coughing and blah, 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 blah. Now all these uprisings, these riots, the ones that really benefit from this is the people that you act like you got a problem with. So be careful.
Yeah.
Social engineering is real.